we are having some camera issues. I see that there's 2 of you in there. Any chance that you could tell me if you see any video? Because I'm not seeing any video. Well, this is awkward. I don't see. Why is there no video? I don't know what's happening. So you can see me and hear me. That's great. Thanks for the update, Matt. Because that was awkward. I was just sitting here. On my end of the screen, it just says, this video is unavailable. So I had no idea if we were streaming or not. Audio sound good? I forgot my headphones. Not doing too good today. So I wanted to do like a live Q&A type session because I had some shoots this week and I didn't really have time to go and film the Quickie Friday, so I figured let's engage the audience, let's have fun, let's answer some questions. And you guys like sent me a lot of cool stuff over the last few community posts about like videos that you want to see or questions that you want to ask me and things like that. So I figured I would get to some of that stuff. And there's some people on Facebook and Instagram and things like that that have asked other questions. So I'm just going to try and address as many of those as possible. But let's go to our questions. We had some really good ones. I appreciate you guys jumping in there and being engaged viewers. That's pretty important. So, all right, here we go. First question out of the bag. Anthony's outdoors. In Premiere Pro, how do you edit out foul language with silence or a beep? I've had to just mute entire clips because of the craziness when battling a big fish. This is one of my favorite questions I think I've ever gotten. I actually laughed really hard whenever I read this first. Because my dad fishes, and I've definitely seen this go on. It's pretty hilarious. So inside of Premiere Pro, like if you want to silence a clip or you want to just bleep a clip, you would actually bring in the audio of like a bleep that you would find somewhere on the internet. You could download it, or you could just pull the audio down in that part. What you need to do for that section is, maybe the easy way to do it would be, if you're get to that part you're editing, you want to put a cut mark, maybe like on the first side and the back side of your cussing, and then you can just separate that clip from the rest of your clip and just pull the audio down. You can silence that clip. That's the easy way to do it. If I were to do it, I would either put a bleep, because that's I don't know. It's just like one of those things. I think it's a funny thing. I think bleeps help just kind of like carry on the comedic value of kind of what you were saying. Much like, I don't know, The Office or something like that, like a great show like that. But if you just wanted to silence it real quick, all you would have to do is take your clip, and inside of Premiere Pro, if you hold down the command button and click on your audio like wavelength, you can put a little keyframe. And if you did that in a few different spots, you could actually have your audio stay at 0 and then keyframe your audio to go down past your swear word and then back up. That's probably how I would do it, just because I'm so used to doing it that way. Or just put a bleep. I don't know. But I think it's pretty funny. That's actually, I think, more funny than actually all the swearing, because I mean, the bleeps are just, they're funny. And then that's going to be ad friendly too, because YouTube did put out a little video a little while ago about, you know, how you are allowed to swear in videos now, but it can't be like within the first 30 seconds, and you can't drop like super crazy F-bombs and all of that stuff. So depending on how you talk to the fish, you know, you might want to think about that. Next question, Franco Physique. I just got the HX80. What are the best settings to shoot my videos in the gym? Thank you. I wrote back to you yesterday and just said that I was going to have to really think about this one. And the reason is, in a gym, I mean, obviously I haven't been to the gym in quite some time, so I don't know what the lighting's like in a gym. So if my guess is that it has like a ton of fluorescent light, and you know, those giant sources of fluorescent light that just like throw light all over the place. That's probably the most efficient thing for a gym. In there, in your HX80, you would want to set your white balance for fluorescent. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it. You could set it for auto, so like an AWB, which is an auto white balance. And then that way, if for some reason, I don't know, you're near a window and there's more daylight coming in than there is fluorescent shining on you, then your camera will do the work and it'll figure out what setting it needs to go to. That's probably the best way to do it. But as far as like aperture and shutter speed and things like that, it really kind of depends on how bright the gym is. If the gym's like super bright, then I would take and put the aperture, you know, somewhere at like maybe f8, because at f8 then everything is kind of in focus and your camera really wouldn't be struggling to find a focal point. If you were in the lower aperture, well, higher apertures, if you were in the higher apertures, which is a lower number, like 3.5 I think is the maximum wide open aperture for this camera. So at 3.5 you've got some like depth of field going on. So, you know, say you're sitting there pumping an iron, getting crazy strong, and there's something in the background moving, your camera might actually go and track that, and then you're gonna turn, you know, out of focus. So I would definitely use a much shallower aperture. Or not shallow. I would use like a low aperture, like something around like f8, or you can go like f10, f11 if it's like really bright. Your shutter speed for video, if you're shooting in 24 frames per second, should be 50. It's always double. So if you're shooting in 24 frames per second, your shutter speed is always going to be 50. If you're shooting in 60 frames per second, then you want your shutter speed to be 120. That just helps the camera look better, basically. That's kind of the magic formula to make all your footage look good. So give that a shot. And then from ISO, at that point, you just kind of have to use ISO to kind of determine like the final touches on your shot. Is it a little too dark? Then bump your ISO up. If it's a little too bright, take that ISO down, so then you can leave your aperture where you want it and your shutter speed where it has to be. And then you can just mess with that third option there, which is your ISO. that'll help you dial in your shot. So, Steve and Monica, I think we have a couple questions here. How long did it take you to get starting paid through YouTube? We'll start with that. So whenever I started my YouTube channel in 2016, there was no 1,000 subscriber minimum and 4,000 watch hours minimum. So none of that was ever a thing. I think that you were, I don't really even remember. I think you were allowed to be monetized like right away if you just signed up for YouTube. Maybe you had to hit 100 subscribers first. I don't think you did. I think the 100 subscribers was for like a vanity address, like youtube.com/JordanHauserDigital. But after the 1,000 sub limit and the 4,000 watch hours, then it took, I think when that rule went into effect, I believe it was February of 2018. I was at, I think, like 700 subscribers or something like that. And then I really started getting serious about my channel, like in March and April. And I ended up, I think I hit my 1,000 subscribers like in June. I'm pretty sure. But then it took like another 2 or 3 weeks to get invited back into the monetization program. So it's been kind of like a shaky road, and as I assume that it has been for almost everybody else, that was kind of on the brink of, you know, the 1,000 person limit. So that's kind of when I started getting paid. And I don't really make much money from YouTube. I'm like, it's like a couple $100 here and there, and it's pretty awesome. Like I've said before in other live shows or other videos, like it just enables me to like go buy some groceries or put some gas in my car or take my lady out to dinner, which doesn't happen all the time. What'd you say? She's sitting here, so she's probably gonna have her goofy commentary as usual. I'll just have to let you know what she said. Do you plan on doing vlogs? So vlogging, yes, I like vlogging. Vlogging is it's a really cool thing. I think that I've kind of like focused this channel down to like an educational type thing. Like I really like to tell you guys things that either I've just learned or little tips and tricks that I know that I learned from other people that make my life easier when I'm making videos. Things like that, because I think that, you know, video can be intimidating. It's an intimidating process because you have to run cameras and run audio equipment and do all this stuff and set up lights, and you're kind of like a one-man band when you're doing this stuff, especially for YouTube. I mean, just to get this live show set up and looking somewhat half decent, I had to, you know, download a program to control my webcam so my face didn't look like it was on fire from this light. Those lights back there, I think they're flickering and they're annoying the shit out of me, but you know, hopefully you guys aren't noticing too badly. I had to download a program to try and minimize that flicker and stuff like that. So there's a lot that goes into making videos. You know, whether you're making vlogs or educational things, I'd like to do vlogs. I think that I get hung up on the fact that my life's not all that interesting all the time. And I know that there's a lot of guys out there that just like vlog themselves going to get coffee in the morning, and you know, they sit around and talk about like I don't know, motivational things, and that's awesome, but that's somebody else's thing. So I feel like I need to, you know, come at a vlog with some kind of like lesson or some kind of like amazing B-roll sequence and things like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm like overthinking it. Maybe I'm trying to make this like way more crazy than it needs to be. But I do love vlogging. I want to do some more vlogging this year. So with my channel, like I've been crazy busy with work and things like that. I've actually started to try and be as consistent as possible with these Friday quickies, because I know that by calling it the Friday quickie, I have the opportunity to make a video that might just be like 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. And, you know, I'm not breaking any promises. I'm saying that I'm going to do a video on Friday, and I do a video on Friday. Sometimes that's a 9-minute video, and that's not such a quickie. You know, it's just I'm trying to get back into being more consistent. So this is one facet of it, is, you know, maybe these Friday quickies, or maybe a live show. Live shows help. We can sit, we can communicate. I, for some reason, can't communicate with any of you. I don't even know if this is going out over there. Matt, you did tell me, and I appreciate it. But like, I don't see, there's no chat action going on in there. I don't know if you guys are able to chat. You can do that. I'm just gonna put a hi and see if you guys can see that. So I do want to do more vlogs. I think vlogging is something that I wouldn't be able to do daily. I wouldn't be able to do probably 3 times a week. I think it's going to be what? Oh yeah, like when we go do like travel videos and things like that. Like we're going on a few trips this summer, and I think those are definitely going to get vlogged for sure. But I don't know. I might do like longer form ones on YouTube, and I'm gonna try and do some Instagram vlogging, like on a story and things like that, because I feel like the limit of time that you have and the lack of editing that would really be needed for like an Instagram vlog, you know, I think that would be easy and wouldn't intrude too much on anyone's vacation time. But long story short, yeah, I want to vlog more. I just have to figure out how I'm going to do it and what I'm going to do. I mean, like, I run a small business for film and video, and you know, my day-to-day isn't as exciting as, you know, everybody might think. You know, everybody on Instagram that is like some like small business entrepreneur tycoon type of person, you know, they're always on jets and they're flying somewhere and living this like fake entrepreneurial lifestyle. And that's not how that is. Like, I mean, 95% of the time I'm sitting right here and I'm typing emails, or I'm editing a video, or building a website or something like that. It's me on the phone talking to clients. It's me sending emails, things like that. It's not me jumping on a plane and traveling to like Greece and then like doing backflips into fucking lagoons. That's not the real entrepreneurial lifestyle. That's Instagram lifestyle. So I don't know how many people would be interested in sitting here watching me, you know, do a vlog about like, you know, me writing emails and following up with clients and doing all this stuff. So I don't know. I'm sure there is, you know, if I think about it and put a story to it, it's a different game. Shoot some B-roll, me like, you know, doing business things. So lifestyle ? I'm not 100% sure what that means. Lifestyle videos. Lifestyle, what I eat in a day. I don't eat much in a day, actually. I'm on the old keto diet, so I eat like once a day. I have meat and vegetables. That's about it. Hauls. I think I know what that is. I've watched one of those videos before. I think that's when you like go to the store and buy stuff. Is that right?
Like a haul?
A haul? Is that what that is?
Like an HAUL?
Yeah. Like, is it shit that you buy?
I guess. Like,
okay.
Like I get a haul every day on our doorstep.
Yeah, seriously. Our house, our neighbors must think we're fucking lunatics, because there are Amazon boxes stacked from the floor to ceiling, like every single day. I don't even know where we put this shit. We have like a box graveyard sitting downstairs in our living room right now. I don't know. It's super busy. But I did get some new stuff today. It's a haul, I guess, right? So I got some new microphones. These things are pretty sweet. And I got a bunch of audio equipment. I am going to be doing something that's not exactly for this channel. It's more for my business, but I've got some things coming up here we're going to be using this audio equipment for. But I just got two of these pretty sweet MXL midnight mics. They're condenser mics, much like this guy right here, but these are XLR, so they are going to go into a board for best sound quality. So that's pretty much my haul. I got two of those mics, two mic stands, headphones, all kinds of things. Actually, my headphone purchase was inspired by Matt Dill videos. I saw those sweet blue audio headphones he was wearing in one of his videos, and I was like, yo, I need these headphones. So I got them. So, all right. I don't know what you mean by lifestyle, and I don't know what you mean by lifestyle, but I think I did say what I eat in a day. It's not much. I wish I could eat more. I wish I could eat pizza, but that gives me breasts, and I don't like those. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to address some things from an earlier post that I put into our community tab here on this channel, where I asked you guys for topics and things like that. And there are like some really awesome topics that I've tackled and I made videos about so far. But there are some things in here that I can just kind of address like on here, just to answer as a question. And I think it would be more effective this way. Not all this is, you know, I'm able to make a video out of all of it, you know. Kevin, this guy, wow, you got the YouTube name Kevin? That's pretty impressive. All right, Kevin from Germany. HX80, the best cheap accessories for the HX80. To be honest, the HX80, there's really not a lot of accessories that you can put on this guy. It doesn't accept an external mic, which stinks, but neither does the G7X Mark II, which is like an 800, well, at one point, I think it was a very expensive camera. It might have been like $700 at one point. No external mics or anything like that. What I have done I've added two little audio like mic muffs. I've cut into strips and put them on there. They're not on there right now because they were getting kind of worn down and stuff, so I'm gonna put some more on there. But that's honestly the best accessory you can get, because when you're out in the wind, say you're riding a skateboard or riding a bike or just out on a windy day vlogging or doing, you know, whatever it is you do, the wind's gonna come up over top of these mics and it's just gonna be like the whole time, and it sucks. It's terrible to listen to. Those little fuzzy things actually block out all of that, and it's really impressive. The two little pieces of fur really take care of that issue, because it's such a terrible thing to listen to. You know, if audio's not good in a video, 9 chances out of 10 you don't even want to watch it. Even if the footage is fucking killer, if audio sucks, I mean, I always tend to bail out. So I don't know if there is any more accessories that I would get for that. Maybe more batteries. There is a really cool thing I did a video about a little while ago. You can actually take and hook up in that little guy right there, that little port. You can actually hook a battery power supply to this camera and just keep it running. You can keep this thing running for as long as your power supply lasts. It actually charges the battery, and you're able to record while you're charging the battery, and it's running off of an external power source. So that's probably even better than the mic muffs themselves. If you were out shooting, I don't know, maybe a time lapse with the HX80, and it was going to be a longer time lapse, you could set up a, you know, power source, like a little power pack, and shoot for probably a lot more time than you would normally on just a regular battery. So that's a sweet accessory. Peter Cram, my dude, he's a cool guy, man. Peter reached out to me on YouTube and Instagram, and he was a fan of my video, the how to shoot B-roll like a pro in 6 minutes or something like that, where I made the breakfast. I made some eggs and toast, and he took that video and got at me on Instagram, asked me some questions. We talked about it. I told him some of the techniques that I used. He filmed then himself having some cooking some breakfast, and his video was awesome. He came up with a bunch of different like cool camera angles, really unique stuff, and you know, he keeps on working on it. He keeps on reshooting it and reshooting and reshooting it. He's a super talented guy. He's a photographer, like super pro photographer. He shoots like amazing stock footage for like Toyota and things like that. I hope it's okay that I said that. I don't know. But so he was asking just more tips on how to get good footage, not just with one setting, but actually in-camera transitions, or how to properly frame on the fly, and is using a tripod always necessary. Tips, I would say, like tips on getting great video footage. I tend to, when I think of great video footage, I think of B-roll. That's just kind of my thing. I love B-roll. I love shooting B-roll. Tips on how to do that, I would say throw your camera into slow motion, get out there and just like completely lose yourself in that process. It's amazing the things that you could do. You could sit and film B-roll. Like I could film B-roll of this microphone sitting in front of me, and you know, the things that I would pick up on and the things that I would want to shoot about it, you know, might not be things that everyone would think of. But like I had a really good conversation this week. I was at a client meeting and we were sitting there watching a video. We were talking about the B-roll in the video, and you know, I had said, like, you know, I was trying to explain how much time and effort and care you need to put into shooting a B-roll segment, and the one girl had said something to me that was like kind of mind-blowing, because like being a creator myself, excuse me, I don't really think about this stuff, but she was kind of saying the same thing. She doesn't really think of it as being B-roll, because B-roll's just there. For a viewer, for somebody who's not a creator, B-roll's just there. It's just always there. It's always been there. You don't think about it. It's not this like special thing that make people think. It's just always been there. But for a video creator, it is a very special thing. That's something that extra that you have to go out and film. If I'm sitting here talking about Michelob Ultra, I'm gonna, you know, as I'm sitting here talking about it, making a video about it, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna shoot like beauty shots of this bottle. I'm gonna slide this thing across, you know, in slow motion and get that shot. Maybe cracking the cap, spilling a couple, you know, drops of beer, things like that. That's all B-roll that, you know, you could shoot, and it's that's work. So you think about it, and it's just something that you have to do. But to the normal viewer, they expect it. They expect to see that. They don't want to sit here and see somebody talking at them for like, you know, 5-10 minutes. that's boring. So you got to get out and you got to shoot B-roll. And so that's what I typically do when I'm trying to get B-roll or shoot great footage. Is I just love to get into my zone, go down into slow motion, and just have fun with it. Like I said, completely just lose yourself in that whole process. In-camera transitions. So like those are fun. I think I use in-camera transitions in almost every single video that I post. You guys will notice like kind of one of my things is now with the Quickie Friday thing, I kind of swipe my hand, and like as I'm swiping my hand, then I put a transition like in the video itself to slide off in the direction that I'm pushing the screen. And then just in like a straight up 100% camera transition, like in camera, I always cover my lens at the end of the videos. I'm like, hey, I'll see you guys later, and I cover the lens to black. Then my titles fade up in black. That's just like a super easy one. There's like the spin in and out and all that stuff. I mean, like when you're going to make a transition or something, you spin really fast, and then you're in a different location and you come into your shot spinning really fast. You can splice those two together, and it's almost kind of like a time warp thing where you're in one location and then you're in some other location. There's tons of different things you can do. Whip pans, kind of like what I was just talking about, but instead of focusing those on yourself, you would put that somewhere else and go out of a shot, stop recording, and then before you start recording your next shot, you would hit record, whip into it, and then go about your shot. And then you would splice those two together, and it would look like you're whipping from one thing to another. You know, going behind a wall and then revealing a whole different setting when you pop out the other side of the wall. That's the same deal. You end your shot by going behind a wall, you stop. Go to another place, find another wall, you hit record, and then you continue to come out of it. That's the first move you make for your new shot. And then you splice those two together, and it looks like you're in like a forest, you went behind a tree, but now you come out behind a concrete wall and you're in the city. So in-camera transitions are really important. I think they can make you feel more creative, and they make you try a little harder. I really like using in-camera transitions. How do you properly frame on the fly? Man, I don't know. I'm more of a like roll of thirds type of guy. Like I don't know. I feel like when I'm doing my talking head stuff, I'm like center frame, which is fine. I think it would be a little awkward if I was like, you know, on a third of the screen. I mean, I don't know. Actually, this does look better. This looks incredibly better. So I don't know, but so I'm like more of like a roll of thirds type of dude. You would know that being a photographer, but you know, that's pretty much where I go with it. As far as like B-roll goes, I kind of throw the whole roll book out. I mean, it's just like I said, you just get in a zone and get there. Is using a tripod always necessary? No way. I don't like to use tripods. I use tripods like on my corporate shoots and all of that stuff. But I try to add as much movement to my videos as possible. The how to shoot B-roll in 60 or 6 minutes, you know, that breakfast video, I used some stable shots in that video. I tried to use a lot of motion shots, but the ones that I did shoot on a tripod, I added movement in post. I'm a giant fan of like keeping people engaged in my B-roll and things like that, so I always want to add movement to my shots. I never really want something to just be still unless it's purposeful. So you are opening up a documentary and you know, you have one shot of like a still like forest or something like that, and you know, maybe there's like a bird flying across the screen or something, but it's just at a nice low angle, kind of shooting it up, and it's just completely still. Like those are great shots, and they are necessary. So, I mean, I would definitely add a little bit of movement and, you know, some of those really iconic, you know, what do you would call it, like an establishing shot. I would definitely do that. But for the most part, I like to go handheld and try to use a gimbal to keep things steady. On to JB Rocks. I'm a beginner, and below is my opinion. When to use 4K or 1080p? Some of these are really good. I'm gonna keep using these as questions for this segment, and if any like really stand out, I'm still gonna go ahead and make some videos about this stuff, because these are the things that you guys wanted to know. So when to use 4K or 1080? To be completely honest, I do this for a living. Like, I make videos for a living, and right now I'm not concerned with 4K, like, at all. I'd rather have a camera with like a really nice dynamic range. That would make things look, you know, much better. But 4K, most people right now in the population don't even have the ability to view 4K. Yes, you get a crazy amount of resolution. It's tremendous. If we were to shoot like a super wide shot, you could take and zoom in on 4K footage like crazy and still have a really nice, smooth shot. I personally just don't, I don't get down with 4K, not yet. I'm saving up for some new cameras for my business, and as 4K becomes like more available to me, I'll probably use it for my corporate shoots and things like that. But as far as YouTube goes, I mean, all they do is just compress the shit out of your videos. I mean, actually, my buddy Marcus today texted me, and he has a YouTube channel as well. It's Marcus Morelli, or Ski 19 Films. Really talented dude, lives in my area, and he had actually sent me a text. I tried to call him, but he didn't answer. So if you see this video, I tried to call you. He was just saying that, like, you know, he's having some artifacting issues and things like that when he goes to upload, because when you upload like an H.264 video, I always noticed I would watch it on my computer, but then I would go downstairs to check out like how the video looks on my TV, and it would like buffer and the quality looked like shit. And I was like, man, this sucks. I started exporting my videos in ProRes. So now my YouTube videos, my exports, they're literally like 2.5 gigs each. Like, each one of my videos that I export is like over 2.5 gigs. But it's the best quality. And so YouTube takes that and it compresses it, and then from there it takes a ProRes file and compresses it, and it looks awesome. It looks amazing, and there's no buffering, there's no artifacting, there's no anything. It's a great thing. So when I export, I use the QuickTime setting and the ProRes proxy, because proxy is one of the smallest ProRes encodings that you can use. So instead of my video being 9 gigs, I can make it like 2. Let's see another here. How do you manage your files? That's a good question, because we were just talking about that. Do you delete recent footage or keep it all? I am a keep it all type of guy. I keep everything. I've kept pretty much everything that I've ever shot, video wise and photo wise. I can't remember ever deleting any video to save space or anything like that. I just keep buying more hard drives. It's a lot easier to go and get a hard drive and, you know, recall footage from your past and things like that than it would be to be like, oh man, I had this really great shot of this mountain when we were in the Poconos or something like that, and I don't know why I deleted it. I was like running out of space. So I don't ever want to have to worry about that. So I just don't delete anything. like I said, I just keep buying more hard drives. Maybe a year and a half ago, I bought an 8 terabyte hard drive. I think it was $150, and it's almost full. So between shooting all of these videos and shooting my corporate stuff and my business videos and things like that, it's you definitely run into issues with space. But you know, you gotta save it all. It's worth saving it. As far as how I manage all my stuff, for YouTube, I'll just give you an example. This is kind of what I do for everything, but say my YouTube, there's a YouTube folder, there's a general YouTube folder, and then in there I have all these folders by year. So I have 2016, 17, 18, and now 19. Inside of 2019, it goes 1 through 12, 1-January, 2-February, 3-March. So I get to keep the months in order. It doesn't just go by the spelling of each month, because then they would be all kinds of fucked up all through there. So it goes by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Inside of, say, January or any given month, I have the date. So like if I made a video today, if I edited a video today, it would have been inside of January. It would be, you know, 3-8-19. And then inside of that, I go and I put a footage folder, music, graphics, export. And then inside of my footage, if I use 2 cameras, I'll say like the 80D and the G7X Mark II. And then that's where I put the footage. I try to stay as organized as possible, because if somebody asks a question or I'm trying to find something, I can just remember like, oh, it was snowing when I made that video. So I'll check between, you know, the months of December and say like March. And I'll just go through and I'll rip through all those folders and be like, oh, there it is. So at least I can remember, you know, it's a good way to do things. And I do that with my business too. I have, you know, the name of the business, and then what project we're working on, and then footage, exports, rough cuts, all of that stuff. Let's go in to another question. How to determine if a video is good or bad? Do's and don'ts. I don't really know. I mean, like when you're making a video, there's only one time ever that I started making a video, shot the entire thing, started to edit it, and couldn't find a direction for the video. Like I just couldn't figure out where to go with this video. So I just like I didn't even delete the footage. I still have the footage, but I never made the vlog. We were in Erie. I had shot some stuff. It was a fun day. We all like went to the beach. It was me and Jesse and the boys, and then my parents and my nieces and things. And we had a great time, and we were out there, just, you know, doing whatever we were doing on the beach. And I just, for whatever reason, I wasn't inspired by anything that was going on. I didn't have any like good B-roll. Most of it was shot on a GoPro. I fucking hate GoPro footage. I think you guys know that about me. But it just it didn't look good. So that was like one video that I never actually finished. So I knew just by the types of shots that I was getting that it wasn't going to be a good video. So I said fuck it and bailed on it. You know, I don't do that often. There's, you know, if you go and you put your time into shooting and you have a really good idea, and you're not just winging it, almost 100% of the time you know what you're going to be doing with it. So you know the types of shots that you want to get, you know, how you want your video to look. You can at least envision what the final might look like. And yeah, but like do's and don'ts when you're making a video, I say do get a variety of shots, do get a variety of footage, close-ups, wides, establishing shots like we were saying earlier about that still camera and the movement. Get a variety of shots. And for the don'ts, don't I don't know. I break the rules. I don't know. You could do anything. Don't not do anything. You know, whatever. Like we were talking earlier about like the kids who, you know, are famous on their vlogs for going to get coffee and saying motivational things. That's fantastic. That's their shtick. You know, some people might say don't just take us to the coffee shop with you all the time, but people love it. They've got millions of views, so I wouldn't say don't do anything. If it's not working, you'll find out. Ask your audience what works and what doesn't work. They'll tell you. Let's see. The video dude says how to make good videos on a phone when you can't afford a camera. I think I've done plenty of videos on how to make videos on a phone. You really just have to treat it like it's a normal camera. I mean, you know, whatever you're using, whether you're using a DSLR or you're using like a point and shoot camera, I mean, you're basically doing the same thing. You've got that thing in your hand. You know, you're not walking around like this, like, you know, some kind of fucking tourist. You know, get that thing locked in. You got to cinch your arm up to your side, try and stay as level as possible. You know, get a good grip on that camera and try and stay steady. That's what I do with my cell phone. I do the same thing with my cell phone. I try and, like, you know, lock this thing in. I grab my fingers with my other hand and I try and like get panning shots. I try and stay as stable as possible. Different types of shots, different angles. The cool thing about a cell phone is you can put it pretty much fucking anywhere. If you were like coming into the bathroom and you wanted to make a vlog about like how you get ready in the morning, you put your phone in your medicine cabinet, open the door, and boom, there you are, you know, brushing your teeth or whatever, and you shut the door. That's an in-camera transition as well. Phones are awesome. They kind of fit anywhere. They're great for shooting in a car if you have like a dash mount or something like that. You know, you can get a variety of shots, and the newer cameras, I'm not so sure about like any of the Android cameras or phones. I'm an iPhone guy, and I know that the iPhone camera is pretty fucking dope, so I would use, you know, I'm gonna stick with that. But you know, the phone cameras just, they keep getting better and better every single year. They're pretty incredible. This phone is ridiculous. This phone shoots in 4K. This phone shoots in 240 frames per second slow motion. It's pretty intense. You know, that's those are specs that I wish I had on like a normal fucking camera. So in short, I would just say get creative with your phone. Just do things that you would do with a different camera. Like there's like a school of thought out there is that as you get better gear, then you make better videos, and I don't think that's fucking true at all. You're gonna do the same shit with a $5,000 camera that you would do with your phone. That's case in point. If you don't you know how to shoot a video, you're gonna do the same thing with a phone or a $5,000 camera. So what you want to do is, if you're using your phone and you're just starting out, get creative. Do different angles. Go from low angles, go high angles, do wide shots, super close-ups. Start to compose your stuff differently. If you shoot pictures like on your cell phone like this and you're in front of your face, maybe drop it down and shoot from this level instead of eye level. Shoot it from like the point of view of like an animal or a child or something like that, and you'll see that your photos they're going to be like completely different. They have a whole different feel to them at that point. So it's a pretty cool thing. Have fun with your phone because they have some pretty great cameras. Anthony's Outdoor. This is from a question a month ago, so but I just wanted to answer some of these, and you know, the really, really good ones I'm going to make some videos out of. But how to adjust the HX80 to give the best video quality in the evening without artificial light. And I think that I've mentioned this in all of the HX80 videos so far. This camera is awesome. I love it. It's a cool, great little camera. But if I was in this room right now with the amount of light that's on me right now, and I had the aperture at 3.5, which is like the most wide open it can go, possibly. That's the brightest I could film with this camera. I would look like I'm sitting in a pitch black room. This camera, the sensor is not large at all whatsoever. It does not ingest a ton of light. Therefore, it has really shitty low light capabilities. So if you want to shoot with the HX80, you've got to do it near a window during the day, outside in the daylight, or you got to have artificial light. You got to have like a big light source like that. You know, if I was shooting with the HX80 in here, even like I said, with this much light, it would look awful. I would have to jack this light way up. I mean, this camera that I'm using, the webcam that I'm using, is actually pretty sensitive. It is pretty dark in here. I mean, generally speaking, I'm not really like sitting in bright light right now. It looks like I am. But the low light capabilities of the Sony HX80 are not that of other great cameras. So you definitely have to use artificial light. It's a bummer. But you can do just like, you know, shoot a light through a frosted shower curtain or something like that. Just give yourself a nice soft light, nothing that's like too harsh or blasting you in the side of the face. Like when I was setting this shot up for this for the live show, I had my light like really close to me, and that's how I film my YouTube videos. But with this camera, how sensitive this camera is, I had to push my light probably about 7 or 8 feet that way, just to give like a really nice soft cast. It wasn't enough just to turn the light down because it was so close. So you definitely just want to soften up your light, let that spread out and touch all things. But artificial light's kind of the way to go with the HX80. It's a bummer. How do you know when it's time to upgrade from an HX80 to a DSLR style camera or camcorder? That's a great question. So what I would say is, if you're being ultra, you know, creative, and you're out there having fun, and you've done everything that you possibly think that you could do with a cell phone or an HX80, and you think that, you know, you can improve your footage by maybe getting a camera that accepts, you know, different lenses, and, you know, a nice big wide lens or a macro lens, 100mm like prime macro. If you think that you could benefit from that, if you think that you've kind of graduated from the point and shoot and you're ready to go on and start playing with depth of field and focus and all of that stuff, then yeah, go for it. I mean, if you have the money to do it, if you have the money to upgrade, go for it. Get yourself a nice entry-level DSLR, get yourself some cool lenses. That stuff's pretty affordable these days. You know, you can probably go and get like a T6i for like a couple $100, and you know, a nice like 10 to 18mm lens, Canon, and there's your vlogging camera right there. It's a great thing. You know, you can hold that 10mm lens about this far from your face, and it looks like you're sitting across the room. It's so wide, it's awesome. But as far as it being time, I don't know that I would say, like, I mean, if you're enjoying the process of making YouTube videos, and you know, maybe you're venturing out and making some like really cool like family like archives, or saving memories, making home videos or anything like that, or if you're doing commercial type videos, I mean, yeah, obviously you want to have some more professional gear, but you know, if you're just making those family videos and YouTube videos, it's all about the process. If you enjoy the process and you think it's something that you want to pursue more and make more professional looking, I say definitely, you know, in time, go ahead and upgrade to a DSLR. But, you know, you can, until then, just keep messing around with your phone and like the HX80, some point and shoot cameras. I think that you'll find out whether it's something that you want to invest money in or not, because it can get expensive. How do different frame rates affect the image quality and viewer experience? All right, so I kind of went through this a little bit when we were talking about different frame rates earlier. So like 24p, let's start there. 24p is kind of like a cinematic frame rate. All right. It shoots in 24 frames per second, and it gives like that. This is in 24 frames per second. So if you can see kind of like that blur going on when I move my hand, it kind of looks like film. You know, it's not like a live home video, like camera was always like shaking and like, you know, dad was chasing you through the yard and shit like that. That was actually shot in 30 frames per second. 30 frames per second is cool to shoot like home videos and, I don't know, slow moving sports. 60 frames per second, that's when you start to get into like faster frame rates. 60 frames looks kind of hyper realistic. Like you wouldn't really see any blur with me doing that. You would actually see like crisp fingers like doing that. It's also great for shooting like live action sports, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, you know, fast sports. 60 frames is great for that. 60 frames is also good for shooting B-roll. And you would shoot in 60 frames per second and then take that footage into your editing program, and you could slow it down by, you know, 40%. That would put you in a 24p timeline. And or you could go and take it from 60, you could interpret it down to 30, cut it in half, edit on like a 30 timeline, or you could go really crazy and edit on a 24p timeline with the interpreted footage that you brought down to 30 frames per second from 60. That would give you nice slow motion. It'd be, you know, just a little, you would see like micro differences in the footage where it actually would look kind of more like this, like film. You know, it slows it down and it gives you the smoothest slow motion that you could possibly get in most cameras. So once we start talking about like 120 or 240 or 480, like now we're starting to get into like crazy frame rates. Like that's like frame rates that, you know, big expensive cameras would shoot. You know, 120 is really only kind of accessible to those who have like a 1DX Mark II. The GH5, I believe, shoots in 120. A few of those Sony mirrorless cameras like the A7S or the Ace, maybe not even the A7S. I think maybe like the A7 II or 3 shoots in 120. So 120 is it's a wild thing. Not very accessible. When you get into like camcorders and, you know, cinema cameras, things like that, you run into like Sony. Shoot, a lot of Sony cameras have the 120. The Blackmagic cameras have 120. Panasonic cameras, I believe, have 120. Canon, for some reason, makes you spend like $12,000 before you can have 120, which sucks, but whatever. But those frame rates are more or less for shooting things in like slow motion. If you are shooting in like 120 and you're editing that footage in a 24p sequence, it does look pretty normal. Like you take a National Geographic documentary, for instance. Like last night I was watching one on Africa, and you know, there was this little bug pushing you know, this stone or something down the side of like a hill, and it's in normal speed, which would be like 24p or something like that. But then when the stone like hits the crest of this hill and it starts to roll down, then all of a sudden they have this amazing slow motion shot of the same angle. Now you can't slow down 24p. That's gonna be shitty. 24 is kind of about the lowest you can go. So what they must have been doing, what I imagine that they were doing, was probably shooting in like 120 or 240 and editing that footage normally in a 24p sequence, and then when they wanted to get those slow motion shots, either they time remapped that part of the shot, or they went ahead and converted that whole clip down to like, you know, whatever, 60 from 120, or, you know, even lower than that, and got it like super slow. So that is that. So I'm almost done with my beer, which means I'm almost done with the show. There was one more question. Brian Fields got at me from Instagram and said that he had seen in my last video, one of the comments in there was a comment. My demo reel had a link to my new Patreon page. He asked me, are you part of Patreon now? Yes, I am. Is anything going to change? Nope. I'm still going to keep making these free videos on YouTube because that's what I love to do. The only thing different between Patreon and YouTube, and why I even started the Patreon, is because I have a bunch of people always reaching out to me asking, you know, if there's a way that I could teach them how to edit, or if I could do a consult with them about editing, or a consult with them about a video, like critique or something like that. And, you know, I always just go ahead and do it, or I give all of my tips and things, and I write out these giant long emails to people, and I don't mind doing that at all. And I'll continue to do that. But if you want to get more in-depth knowledge of like editing and how I go about doing my process, and how I have become such an efficient editor, then, you know, I think that maybe Patreon would be, you know, the thing for you, if you like my style of editing and things like that, you know, and that really helps me, you know, kind of keep this whole thing alive, you know. There's definitely times whenever I spend an entire day shooting and editing a video, and whenever I go ahead and upload it and the thing only gets like 120 views in a week, I'm like, oh man, you know, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. But YouTube is something that I love to do, and I love to make these videos. So I'm going to keep on doing it because it's something that I like to do. But with the Patreon thing, if I'm teaching somebody and they really want to get in depth and they want to spend, you know, an hour and a half with me going over some really cool techniques and things that you can do to save time when you're editing, then it would be cool for me to go ahead and, you know, have the ability to you know, make a couple bucks from that. You know, it's a thing, you know, it's a service. If you you know, want to do something like that, if you want to go that avenue, or you can just keep watching me on YouTube. It's free as fuck all the time. So, all right, I am down to my last sip. There it was. Timed it out perfectly. We went through all the questions. I don't even know. Like, I've literally been sitting here on this stream for an hour and 6 minutes. I wanted to limit this thing to a half an hour, but I believe the video is going out. I even tried to test the chat and nothing happened, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I could have very well just sat here and talked to myself for an hour and 6 minutes. It's quite possible. I don't know. And Jesse's laughing at me. So enjoy. I'll try and do another Q&A at some point. I like doing these live shows, but I always tend to sit here and ramble and get drunk, and I don't know. It's fun, but not for an hour and 6 minutes. Yeah, she says it sounds like my average day, which it's not. Any of you business people out there that are watching. All right. I will see you guys later. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that I answered you guys' questions. I hope this wasn't too fucking boring. I don't know. Like I said, I was busy this week with a lot of shoots, and I wanted to stay consistent. I wanted to keep up with the Friday videos, and I didn't have time to film a video, so this is what we get this week. Next week, I am going to do. I'm starting to think of a video that I want to do. It's kind of, and I almost want to do a contest. I want to do a B-roll contest. Much like the Peter McKinnon B-roll competition, much like that, but kind of like not on that grand of a scale. And I'm gonna come up with some rules for it, I guess, because like everyone kind of needs, like, I can't sit here and watch like a 20-minute B-roll video, you know, for one person. So but I do want to, like, you know, do like maybe like a little B-roll showcase, and I want to see what you guys can do. And I also want you to comment in whatever video, whenever I put that video out, I want you to comment with a link to your video, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna accept all those comments, because YouTube will block those like right off the fucking bat because you sent a link. But I'm gonna go ahead and approve all of those, and I want you guys to send me your B-roll videos, and I want other people in the comments and other people on this channel that sub to this channel to see, you know, what the fuck you can do too. I think it's fun. I think, you know, we could sit there and kind of give tips and tricks to each other, you know, do some nice critiques. You know, got to keep it, what the fuck is that called? Something, criticism? Positive criticism? Like, keep it positive. What is that? Constructive criticism. That's what I meant. So that's what I think is going to be coming pretty soon. I really would enjoy seeing your guys' B-roll and like talking about it. And if you guys had any questions for me, or if I had any questions for you, like if I saw you guys doing something that I want to know how to do, I'm going to fucking ask you. So look forward to those types of things. Like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this and it wasn't too fucking boring. The room was never empty, so there's at least 2 people that have been listening to this whole fucking thing. So thank you very much. See you guys later.